Hi, everybody. This is Renelle and Ashley from Quantum You coming to you again, once again on this podcast for the second week. And I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about wonderful, wonderful things that would also help you guys a lot to set you free and walk the life of divine being is you. So, Ashley, you said you would like to start today. So here we go with your story on living this life of abundance.
Yeah, thanks for now. I'm excited about this topic this week because the most important thing I want to communicate to people listening to this is that this living from spirits, living from God, living from awareness and oneness is something that's all incredibly natural to us. It is how we were made, how we were designed. And so just kind of tell the career of my story, or my story of my career, I should say. I started, I work at a construction company, and I started as, I call it the donut dolly, bringing donuts to clients and just introducing us. And, I was fresh out of college and didn't know much about the world or life, and started off marketing and in the sales role. And as everybody in the work world knows, there's all kinds of tasks and formulas for how to produce success and things that action steps that your company wants you to take to produce the outcome that they have and they'd like you to produce. And so what I would do is I would still do those action steps, but I lived from a place of letting go of the results because the goals were really steep and I felt there was no way I was going to attain those goals on my own. And so I did the action steps, but the key is that my attachment to the result of those action steps was not there. I just lived from a place where I knew God loved me, and I was motivated out of the inspiration of my heart and the inspiration of love and the spirit that is within me. And I just let go of any result. And so I didn't attach myself to a specific outcome. That's not to say I wouldn't be disappointed when things wouldn't go perfectly, but I wasn't devastated or suffering as a result of things not going my way. So what I will tell you is I would just drive to work and picture, like, if this was heaven right now, what would the day look like? And I just lived from this place of detachment from what was appearing before me. And what I'll tell you what happened is my little market is the smallest in the company. The second biggest market is about 5 times larger than my market. And then the market bigger than that is about 5 times larger than the second place market, and so on and so forth. My little market, we won the sales goal. We won the sales award for the whole company for that year, which was incredibly fun and just like, wow, where did that come from? Then we turned it around and did it again the next year. And we set the sales record for the company. And I just felt almost like a fraud because I knew that it was just not me that was doing this. I knew that it was the power of the spirit and the oneness and the awareness and the power of God within me just manifesting all of this, because I was visualizing a positive outcome and then turning around and letting go of any attachment to the result. And then this past year, I took on an additional territory, and in the middle of the pandemic and all of that, both of my territories pulled in 111% of their sales goals. And my territories were responsible for 55% of the company's revenue. And the company had the best year they've had in the history of the company. And again, it was just like, I just laugh at what's going on. And, we have 4 sales awards this year, and my team won 3 out of the 4 sales awards, and it just so incredible, and I'm just so proud of them. And it just cracks me up because I know it had nothing to do with me, but I've just gotten to this place of living from totally within, and it's really fun, especially when you're not the one doing it. You're just on for the ride.
It is amazing. It is incredible testimony. But I love it, the joy and the freedom, and that I hear in your voice from this. It's just fun that life should be like this. Life should be lived. And I mean, I didn't hear anything about challenges, but how did you deal with challenges?
Yeah,
Mm,
good question. I had them. They came up. Life still pushes on you, but it's kind of like, let's say you get a paper cut on your finger and the cut is still there, but are you really worried about it? No, it just heals on its own. And that was kind of what it was. It was like, all right, we still had challenges. We still had things that came up, and I still had situations where I pretended to be the one in control doing it all, and I still had times where I wasn't perfectly visualizing. Maybe I visualized a bad outcome accidentally, that fear and worry within you. But I remained detached from the result. I always just knew in my heart that God was going to take care of it. And even if there were moments where I didn't know, because I don't want people to think that they have to exist in this state of unwavering perfection. Like, yeah, you get worried sometimes. You have issues where you're like, shoot, is this going to really work out? But, just coming back to that, knowing that that love inside of you is going to take care of you. And at the end of the day, it's all going to be okay. That is what kept me going through the challenges. Again, it wasn't like they weren't there. I just wasn't suffering as a result of those challenges.
I think that's awesome. I think most people listening to this, and not most people, but generally, people think when they see your success, it's, it was hard work and it was difficult, and I don't know, a society kind of relates success to toughness, lots of sacrifices. But I remember I know there's a scripture in the Bible says, work 1 hour, earn 8. And I said to God, okay, that's for me. I just loved it. I kind of took that into my heart and said, and it means there's relaxation regarding things, and that doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. In my story, it's a bit different, but I think also, being a mom at home, my husband went started a business when it was also the year, I think 2008, when everybody was basically not stepping out. He had a very good job and he stepped out. And in the first year, it was a trusting, but I had such a sense of, even when it was a question where people weren't phoning or anything, I just knew that I knew, like you said, my awareness was I'm abundant. And even while we could not see it, I just trusted. And the business grew into a company of multiple people and different branches. And even in the place, like you guys probably saw with COVID and so many different areas of business not what do you call it? Thriving. In these challenges, I could see expansion, and I trusted my feeling from within, from awareness, and this feeling of God is love, and he loves us and he takes care of us. And I could see it, and it happened. And just like your company, we did better than we have done in the last 10 years since we started the company. Wow. And the other example, we were just talking about Ashley and I before, which I'd quickly just mention. I also had a company when I was younger, and it didn't do so well. And at the end of that year, I was in debt, as you would see it, but I never worried about the debt. And the one day I met the guy who I was in debt with, and he just released my total debt. But I think this is just an example of being in flow, of not worrying about something, when you can actually just live in potential and possibilities, even in times when we don't know what the outcome is going to be, or where it seems impossible. So in both our lives, I believe we've both seen it. And now with the company we are starting, the way we also met one another is amazing. I don't know if we shared it in the last postcard. Did we share how we met each other? Did we?
Oh, I don't know that we did in the first podcast. Do you want to share it?
Yes, we we just spoke on how we actually, sorry, we didn't actually speak on it. I think you
I
can
don't
just
think
maybe
so.
share quickly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's also part of the flow
it
subject.
totally is part of the flow. It's amazing. I just, I was seeing myself successful owning my own business, and I didn't even know with what. I just thought, oh, well, so I would picture myself landing in Europe, flying first class for a speaking engagement, and whenever I would visualize that, for some reason, I would see like Copenhagen and Germany and all this, and I was like, oh, I don't know, that's cool. And um, it was probably a couple weeks later, I get an email from a mutual connection of Renell and I, who's how we met. And he said, Renell would like to connect with you and talk about starting a business. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's talk. And I'm like, well, where does she live? And he was like, well, she lives in Germany, not too far from Copenhagen. And I just was like, okay, well, that's how and it was such a knowing that this was the right partnership that I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I don't even need to ask any questions. Let's just do this. And that's, here we are.
That is so amazing. And I love how you also, it's such an example of out of flow it comes. Out of flow, new businesses are born. We both live day to day in this moment by moment and cherish and just keep our hearts open to experience more. And I think that is very important. Don't you find every day, like you said, heaven on earth? What does this look like? What does it feel like?
Yeah. Yeah, allow yourself to imagine that. Just like, I envision it sometimes like it's silly, but almost like a yellow brick road that's flowing out of my heart, that's setting the path before me, and just kind of exist in the charm of what could be. Again, it's not that we don't take right action. We take right action. We don't just sit at home and do nothing, but right action is spontaneity, and God and spirit will bring you the thing you need to do at the moment you need to do it. And even if you're busy doing a bunch of other things that don't matter, it's okay. But just live in that love and that abundant expectation, and you'll know what you need to do at the moment it comes.
I love that you said it doesn't mean you don't do anything, but you know what the difference is? When you do something, then it's full of joy and love and peace. And you enjoy doing it. Then you change your whole art. It's been totally amazing. It really is. So that is true. I love it, Ashley. I don't know if we're going to share anything. Did you have anything else on your heart, or?
That's kind of what I wanted to tell people about today, was just the living in the flow. And in our upcoming trainings, we're going to talk about kind of some practical steps in that, and also some spiritual steps in that, and how those go together. And that's just kind of an introduction, so you kind of know that we've done it and how we did it, and that you don't have to be perfect to do it yourself.
Yes, I love it. And I know it's going to be excellent, and I look forward to our chat next week.
Me too. I can't wait. Everybody, thank you for listening, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Goodbye.